right, joining us on the hotline is Maria Henderson, who's going to be debuting for Bellator. And that fight is coming up at Bellator 268 on the same night that her husband fights Benson Henderson. It's Maria Henderson. How are you, Maria?
Good. How are you guys? Still trying to figure out this camera.
Good, thank you. So a lot of things going on here. You're debuting for Bellator. It's going to be a home game for you because it's in your home city on the same fight night card that your husband's going to be fighting on. Boy, that's got to be a lot to. I mean, it's going to be historic, but it's got to be a lot to handle too.
No, not too much. I think I'm pretty used to big fights with my husband, just in general. And as long as you just keep thinking about like it's the same state, the same city, just a different location, different arena, or different octagon, I guess. It's not really that big of a deal. I don't really want to think of it as a big a deal. Every fight's the same. You still got to go in there and win, no matter where it is, no matter who you're fighting.
Right, but like usually on fight camps, but especially on fight week, I'm sure one of you kind of lays down for the other and assists in the process. And now you're both kind of going through it together, so you probably have a quality team around you that's going to help you manage the last 48 hours, I imagine.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Ben's we've been pretty busy having kids for like the last 5 years. So he's been super busy in all the camps. Like, I might not have been fighting, but I've been literally nursing and having pregnant and having kids for the last 4 years. And so Ben and I both Ben had a lot to do. So it's kind of the same for us, really, to be honest with you. It's just now I'm getting punched in the face too. I might get more me time now, actually getting punched in the face than I did before. So that's the only difference.
How many kids do you guys have now?
4.
4, okay.
Yeah.
One more and you'll have a basketball team. Or are you done?
We're done. We're done. I love my little girl. She surprised us pretty big time. So I have 3 boys and then I have a little girl. And when my little girl was born, I had a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 14-month-old. So we're busy.
Right. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool story there. And you're going to be fighting on this fight card that has Grand Prix going on. They have the 2 semifinals for the light heavyweight Grand Prix, the historical husband with the wife on the same card. You're saying you're trying to like minimize it. It's not as big of a deal. Is that what keeps you kind of calm? Because it's pretty special.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I haven't really even thought about Bellator being a big stage until like we have a handful of interviews right now. I did. I was talking to someone just like 20 minutes ago, and he was talking about it, and I was like, oh, honestly, I haven't really thought about it as a big stage. It's just another octagon. Honestly, like, the goal is to get there anyways, right? The goal is to fight for Bellator, fight for the UFC. So that's the goal. I'm just getting to do it a little bit sooner, I guess. But still, it's amateur. So I'm just getting to get there a little bit sooner than everybody else, I guess, partly because of my husband. So,
Maria, how far into the future with your fight career do you look?
Well, as far as fighting people, it's just one fight at a time. If you start overlooking your fight and then start worrying about the next fight or the next fight after that, then I think your focus is not very good. So I'm just worried about my fight right now. As far as going pro, when my husband tells me you look good enough to go pro, I will go pro. But the end goal is to be the best in the world. Pretty simple. Hard goal, but pretty simple goal, just to be the best in the world. I don't want to be the first this or the youngest this or the oldest this. I don't care. I just want to be the best. You can be the youngest champ, but not only hold it once. You could be the first mom champion. I know one of the girls, that was her goal, is the first mom champion. I don't want to be the first. I want to be the best. I want to be the longest, so the goal in the end is just to be the best.
What would you say is the biggest surprise that came out of your last fight for you? What surprised you the most?
Honestly, the first 2 punches she hit me with were super hard. But I think it helped. It started the fight right away, and it made me get going right away, which I thought was great. Maybe if it would have been a little bit more like slow paced, that would have not been good for me. But just getting in there and getting punched pretty hard the first 2 shots, honestly, I felt like those were the only 2 that she really hit me with the whole fight. So that kind of surprised me, you know, just the first time ever getting really hit with a lot of intention. Well, no, that's not true. We have a girl in our gym who she hits pretty hard, but that surprised me. A lot of people keep asking me about like, oh, you're experienced grappler, why didn't you go to the ground? Well, 1, it's not always that easy. And 2, I wasn't necessarily working on that camp getting to the ground. I was working on my striking and you know, how typical is it for a girl to go straight to the ground if she does jiu-jitsu? I think I did well staying on my feet. I won the feet. She's a striker, and I beat her at her game. So I don't think you could really ask for a better debut fight.
So I don't know if you know this, but George and I are actually brothers. And I think our record for not talking about MMA might be a couple hours, maybe. And it's probably because one of us fell asleep. As far as you guys go, what's the longest you've ever been? Like, how often are you guys talking about the fight game and preparation and all that? Like, can you just kind of put that to the shelf sometimes, or is it just embedded in your blood?
No, definitely we can put it to the shelf. One of the first things I remember when I was dating Ben, he was about to fight Anthony Pettis for the first time. And I asked him like, oh, hey, how are you feeling? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, I don't really want to talk about this all the time. You know, everyone always wants to talk about it. I want my home life, my private life to be my home and my private life. And so I think we do that really well. There are times where we talk about like this fight or that fight, but honestly, we almost never watch fights. We don't really we watch probably more jiu-jitsu matches than we watch anything else, but still we don't really do that. We're so busy with our kids that we don't really have time to focus on everything else. Maybe when we're in the car on the way to practice, we'll talk about it. Or when we see like on Instagram a cool jiu-jitsu move, we might play around with it at home a little bit. But our home life is our home life. Like I think we do a pretty good job of separating the two. When we're at the gym, we'll talk about it. When we're in practice, we'll talk about it. At home, very little bit. It doesn't take over our lives like some people.
Maria, how much have you studied Colette Santiago, your opponent at Bellator 268?
Not very much. There's not really much footage on her. My mitt coach wanted to see some stuff of her, but the only thing we could really see was of like 2 years ago, and that was it. So really almost nothing. I think she could probably, my last fight, she'll probably get to watch more of me than I will of her. But it's a little bit different because the girl I fought was traditional, and this one is she's southpaw, Colette southpaw. So I know she's southpaw. I know she wants to wrestle. Like she always tries to wrestle in her fights from the one video I saw and from what I hear. And I know that she used to fight at 45 and now she's dropping to 15. So that's pretty much all I know about her. I do think that she'll try to come in super aggressive and she'll try to like use her weight against me. Like she'll try to think like she can like just kind of pick me up and toss me around just from being a bigger fighter. But besides for that, that's all I know.
Mm-hmm. And if you had the opportunity, like if there was a lot of video, would you immerse yourself in trying to study your opponent, or do you try and minimize that? Just kind of know the basics and worry more about your game. Where do you fall?
Yeah, I think there's a few things I know just from like, so I know like that one video I saw her trying to go double unders a lot on people and trying to like toss them over her head. And then a couple of her last fight, we were actually had a lot of guys fight on that card. And so they got to see her do some stuff there, warming up there. But besides for that, I think that's all I would want to know. Maybe I'd watch her fights once all the way through, like all of them, if I could, just to kind of see what her habits are. But I don't really want to focus on what she's doing because then it's taken away from what I'm doing. I don't want to play her game. I want to play my game. So I think I wouldn't really pay too close of attention to him.
And lastly, I know you said that we try and keep home life, and then the gym is the gym. But with you all managing 4 kids, I imagine some of them may go to the gym. Are they already adapting to martial arts? And could you envision one of them maybe following the road of the mom and dad, or what do you think?
No, I mean, they go to the gym a lot, like all of our kids do. We have a daycare, especially our oldest was there all the time. It's one kid is easy. Like one kid is super easy. You can take them around everywhere with you and you can manage the nap times and eating. And then when you get 2, it gets a little bit more difficult. 3, it gets really hard. 4 is really hard. So mostly just our younger two go to the gym with us during the morning, and then the other two kind of go to preschool and kindergarten. And they'll come with us when we can, but it kind of gets overwhelming for them to go to the gym like 3-4 times a day. They did like to hit each other a lot with mitts. A friend of ours brought some really mini gloves back from Thailand, and we bought our oldest son mini MMA gloves, but we took away all of our gloves. They're like up really, really high, so the kids cannot touch them because they'll punch and kick each other. We don't really watch anything with a ton of punching and kicking because they go crazy. They always want to do it. If they want to wrestle, they can wrestle. If they want to do jiu-jitsu, they can do it, but we're not going to push them into anything, and we'd really not like them to fight at all. We would like them to be doctors and astronauts if they could.
Nice. There you go. All right. Well, Richard Branson's still around, then maybe one of them can hop on a rocket with him.
Yeah.
When they're older. I did forget to ask you one last one. Well, because you guys are so separated on the card, will Benson be one of your coaches in your corner before he goes and warms up and fights as well?
Yeah, he will be. There was no talking him out of it. It's something he's gonna do. You can't really talk Ben out of stuff. So yeah, Ben's gonna be my corner. It's gonna be Ben, John Crouch, who's the head coach, and then David Machad.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what. I think it's the 4 kids that keep you on your toes because you seem very relaxed for what I consider a very historical event.
Yeah.
And
I
it
haven't
seems
really. You guys have been saying that word a lot. I haven't really thought about it that way at all. So for me, yeah, I would like to be relaxed, to treat it as normal as possible, because the goal is for me in the future to headline and to have a belt in the future. So this is just me getting there. This is me finally getting to do what I want to do. So it's more exciting than anything else, but still, it's the normal thing, I think, to think about. Anyways.
We're looking forward to Bellator 268 on October 16th with Maria Henderson, our guest here, against Colette Santiago, and her husband Benson Henderson will be fighting later that night as well. We also got the light heavyweight Grand Prix semifinals, all on Showtime, 10 p.m. Eastern, of course, as always. Thank you, Maria, for the time today.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.